Broadcasting from the Bayou State and all around the Gulf Coast and streaming nationwide. This is The C.L. Bryant Show.
CL on a Tuesday here in the jewel cities of the Arklatex. And I want to welcome all of you aboard the C.L. Bryant Show and our friends in southern Arkansas, East Texas, throughout North Louisiana. Thank you so much for coming aboard. And then all of you throughout the fruited plains of the greatest nation on the face of the earth, the greatest success story the world has ever known. I want to thank you for being here with us. Folks, I cannot wait until I am able to say this on several other terrestrial networks or radio media groups throughout the country. It's coming closer and closer where your native son's voice will be heard throughout the land. It's being heard right now, of course, in a live stream, but we will be making our presence known in places like Pittsburgh, like Colorado, and places points beyond that as well. So thank you so much for being here with me. I want to thank a few of my sponsors. I want to thank Holmes Honda European, Bailey's Fine Jeweler, Tiger, Axel, Milam Cars, Giuseppe's, Davtac Custom Arms and Ammo, Signature Cleaning Service, and Subway for making this portion of the C.L. Bryant Show possible. You hang around the 6:30 hour. Got to give a shout out to some more of our sponsors as well. And, of course, we're going to take your phone calls. 320-5335, 320-5335 is the number to call around the 6:30 hour if you want to talk to me. You know that I'm going to be very happy to talk to you about whatever is on your mind. And, of course, I'd certainly like to have you talking about something that's pertinent to our conversation today. But whatever is on your mind, I'd like to talk to you about that too. Just to reiterate what I said yesterday. What I said yesterday about our downtown waterfront. I was speaking about Sunday, and now I want to thank all of you who did, in fact, give me feedback on that. Oh, we got emails, we got all kind of calls about it as well before and after the show. And I was just saying that Sunday, Jane and I went down to the waterfront. We were going to eat at Nikki's. I wasn't aware, really, that Nikki's was closed down there on Sunday. And I was saying to Jane, I just said how nice it would be if you had the pitter-patter of little feet, little kid running around, but you'd have to have entertainment. You'd have to have artists there on Sunday. I'm aware that there are things that go around down there all the time. Liz Swain is doing a fantastic job. We have such a lovely riverfront. Our riverfront is absolutely beautiful. And it is tourist time, and people want to take home some memories from the port city, Shreveport, when they go back to wherever they are. I do the best I can to be an ambassador for our city wherever I go. And, folks, I got to tell you, there is a lot of travel coming up on my schedule here in the next quarter. There's no question about it. This is the election season. 2016 is going to be very busy, but I promise you, I'm going to give you a front row seat to what's going on at all points of the nation where I am. Talking to some people, finally talking to some people about my next film, Red, White, and Black. And if you have not seen Runaway Slave, you haven't seen my movie, my first film, Runaway Slave, well, actually, The Other Side was my first film. Did not even get off the ground. Runaway Slave did very well. It was number one on Amazon for a couple of weeks. And, of course, we did show in limited release around the nation in movie theaters. But my next film, Red, White, and Black, talking seriously to some people about getting that done before the end of 2016. And I am working on that. I'm going to be working on the premiere of it right here in Shreveport, Louisiana. And so we'll be inviting all of you to come out. In fact, next Monday, Michelle and I will be giving away 2 copies of Runaway Slave. I guess you'll come up with of how to determine how we'll give those away. We'll be giving away at least 2 copies of Runaway Slave, the movie. See it It's been mentioned among the top 10 documentaries that's ever been made, and we're really proud of that. Dr. Thomas Sowell, everybody's in the film, from Dr. Thomas Sowell, Andrew Breitbart, Glenn Beck, and Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Star Parkers, everybody's in the film. Alan West, everybody's in this movie, and of course I, your humble radio host, is the basic star of this film. It is a very powerful documentary. It's timeless. Even if I say so myself, it's timeless. You should see it. Now, folks, coming up in today's show, we have two authors that will be with me initially, and both of them you're going to be glued to both of them. I promise you that you are going to be glued to both of them. I have Larry Alex Taunton, who will be coming up here in the very next segment. And also I have Dr. Darrell Tuberville, who will be coming up in a little bit later on in the show. Now, don't go anywhere. I'm CL. This is the CL Bryant Show. We have something really good.
United Texas town, about to shack outside the game. And you know what I'm talking about. Just let me know if you wanna go to that home out on the range. They got a lot of nice girls. I'm racing. But now I might be mistaken.
CL back with you on this Tuesday evening, broadcasting throughout the fruited plains of the greatest nation on the face of the earth, the greatest success story the world has ever known. Welcome all of you to the CL Bryant Show. I am CL Bryant. And joining me by way of telephone is author Larry Alex Taunton. He is the executive director of Fixed Point Foundation, author of Grace Effect, and How the Power of One Life Can Reverse the Corruption of Unbelief. Larry, thank you so much for being here with me today, and thank you for being on the CL Bryant Show.
Hey, CL, it's great to be with you. You know, we've met before. I don't know if you recall this.
Larry, I do recall. We have a mutual friend.
You do.
We have a mutual friend, and you're going to be a regular, whether you know that now. You didn't know it before, but you know it now. You're going to be a regular, and I've talked to our mutual friend, and I have a feeling that we have worked it out. But go ahead.
Let me say something to your audience that they probably already know. But you and I, a few years ago, maybe it's been more than a few years ago, we spoke together at the Constitutional Coalition in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And Ben Carson spoke, and I gave what I thought was a really wonderful talk, only to have you talk after me and have the whole audience practically standing on their chairs saying, "Oh, Captain, my Captain."
Bless you for that. Larry, I do want to talk about the Grace Effect. And I want to know the genesis.
Pardon me.
Go ahead.
I think the book you're wanting to talk about is my book that's just out today.
That's the one.
Is the faith of Christopher Hitchens, the very well-known atheist Christopher Hitchens, and who died of esophageal cancer in 2011, who was a devout atheist and communist even.
Yes.
And yet who I got to know.
And how did that happen?
The way that happened, CL, is Hitchens, your audience may not be familiar with him, but he was an English-born, born in 1949, Oxford-educated, naturalized American citizen, and he wrote for Vanity Fair, Salon, Slate, more or less the publications you and I never read.
The usual suspects, yeah.
The usual suspects.
Right.
He was very much to the left. But after 2001, after September 11th of 2001, CL, something went off deep inside Christopher Hitchens. And he said, I can no longer go along with the leftist narrative that says America got what it deserved on 9/11.
Wow.
That America's responsible for all the evil in the world. I'm not going along with that anymore. This was an evil act. And the result of that, CL, was that he lost a lot of friends as a result of that. But he then kind of coddled back up to them by publishing a book, which you may be familiar with, in 2007 called God Is Not Great, How Religion Poisons Everything.
Wow.
And that was a mega bestseller, and he attacked, all religions, all gods, all deity. And, I attacked quite a few of them myself, but not Jesus Christ. And, so Christopher, in doing that, CL, what he did was he started engaging with people like the two of us. And for the first time in his life, he began engaging with thoughtful Christians. And while he was on the stage, I think going on shows like Hardball, a show I was on last night, or Bill O'Reilly or something like that.
I caught that show last night, by the way, Larry. It was great. You held your own. Listen, man, you were great.
Well, you're kind, CL. There's not very many books that Chris Matthews and CL Bryant are going to endorse together. and yet Chris Matthews was effusive in his praise for this book, along with Ravi Zacharias and many others. But in any case, while Christopher was on stage debating guys like us and saying all kinds of outrageous things about Christians, and we need to eradicate the Christian faith from American society, it's responsible for all evils, and so on and so forth, off stage, he was doing what you and I did in St. Louis, and that is, enjoying a meal together, a cup of coffee. And what was happening with Christopher is that at a subterranean level, hidden from view, Christopher Hitchens was, particularly towards the end of his life, after he was diagnosed with esophageal cancer, which he knew was a death sentence.
Yeah.
Christopher was exploring Christian belief.
Wow. Wow. And you know what, Larry, what is amazing about that is that, and I mentioned Grace Effect, and I've read this book, and actually this is so deep, and I'm going to read Faith of Christopher Hitchens. And folks, all of you around the country, I want to tell you this. The man that you're listening to on our program right now, Larry Taunton, is in fact one of the great minds in this country, one of the great Christian apologists as well in this country. And you should pick this book up. I am certain that it will add to your life, along with Grace Effect, because what you did in being with Hitchens and being there for him, you actually lived out the tenets of what you wrote in Grace Effect. That's the way I see that, Larry.
Oh, you're so kind.
I really see that.
This is an interesting thing. Christopher Hitchens, that I think for most of his life, in England as well as the United States, I mean, he was in the Beltway. He really never got to the so-called red states where you and I live.
Right.
And the kind of Christianity that he saw and hated, to use one example, was that of Al Sharpton.
Larry, hold that thought. I don't want them to miss this. Hold that thought. We're going to be back on the other side of this break with Larry Taunton, author of Faith of Christopher Hitchens. You don't want to miss this, folks. I'm CL Bryant Show. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
I'm just beginning to see. Now I'm on my way. It doesn't matter to me, chasing the clouds away. Something cold.
CL, Tuesday. The jeweled cities of the Arklatex, and all of you folks in southern Arkansas and East Texas, thank you so much for joining us. And then all of our friends and men and women in uniform throughout the globe who listen to the show. I know you do because you text me and you also email us. And I want to send this shout out to every one of you out there. Fight the good fight. We're praying for you, and we will always stand beside our men and women in uniform here at the C.L. Bryant Show. On the line with me is author Larry Taunton. His newest book is Faith of Christopher Hitchens. Faith of Christopher Hitchens. And Larry, you were making a point. You were about to mention the name of Al Sharpton when we left, and I didn't want folks to mention that, to miss that. So go for it.
Yeah, I mean, Christopher Hitchens was, if you only knew him just a little bit, what you would think of him as a guy who hated any religious person, Christians, no less than anybody else. And this just simply wasn't true of Christopher once you got to know him and off stage. And as I tell these stories in this book, The Faith of Christopher Hitchens, which is available in bookstores everywhere today on Amazon and soaring, by the way. But in talking with him, it was interesting. He was telling me his rules for debate, and he said, my rules for debate are know the other man's position, why he holds it, and then determine whether you want to destroy the man or the argument. And I said, whoa, that sounds pretty tough. Why didn't you try to destroy me in debate, Christopher? And he said, well, that's easy. You believe it. You believe it. You believe the God that you're talking about. And I said, well, give me an example of somebody you would try to destroy in debate. And he said, do you know Al Sharpton?
Yeah.
And I said, well, not personally. And he said, well, I debated him in New York. And he said, I don't think that guy believes in God any more than I do. He said, I think he's actually an atheist.
You know, it's amazing. It's amazing you say that. Like, let me tell you why it's so amazing you say that. You know, Al's in my movie, and here I am. I know Al, and I was trying to interview him, and he actually, at first, it was real warm. He was going to give me the interview. I'm going to send you a copy of the film. But then when I come back to actually do the interview, he snakes away from me. He doesn't want to do it. Shows you the character of the man. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, wow. Well, you would know much better than myself, but I was greatly amused because here was Christopher saying, that's a guy I want to go after because I don't think he believes in God. I think he said every time I tried to nail him down on the Bible, he would slither away, and every time I tried to get a sense of what God he believed in, he then tried to change the subject. And
right,
in an interesting way, what happened with Christopher Hitchens, CL, is that he became a kind of unlikely defender of the faith. I mean, here he was, a man who showed great respect for my faith, for my family, for the faith of celebrated geneticist and physician Francis Collins, who is an evangelical Christian, while at the same time going after those people he thought were not the genuine article.
Yeah. And you know what, Larry, first, before I have about, how much time we have? I have about 3 minutes left with you. I want you to give us where we can find The Faith of Christopher Hitchens and tell us how to get a glimpse into other thoughts that you have.
Yeah, sure. One of the things I hope readers of this book will get from it is we live in a world that is so increasingly factionalized, and this book offers a way to build bridges with people on the other side of your belief, but doing so without compromising who you are and your principles and your commitments. And I hope that people will be Christians be greatly encouraged by this book. I hope their unbelievers will be challenged in their unbelief to consider, is the biblical claim that there's a heaven and a hell real? I mean, it seems to me it's a question that you should think a little bit about.
Yeah.
And you can get the book on Amazon. You can get it at Larry Alex Taunton, Taunton. That's LarryAlexTaunton.com.
LarryAlexTaunton.com. come. And my executive producer and I are already trying to determine how we're going to hook it up here in the Arklatex in Shreveport area to get you here in front of a massive crowd of people.
I'd love to do it.
Let's do it. We're going to work on it, and we'll be back in touch with you here soon. In fact, I'll be talking to our mutual friend about getting you down here. And I want to thank you.
I don't have to speak after you. Yeah.
No way. And I'm going to, I don't want to speak after you once you present your, because listen, once you present your thesis here, I don't want to come behind you because I know the power of what you have to say and the effect that it has on people. Listen, God bless, God keep you. I know that you're going to fight the good fight. And so tell everybody that we know hello. And I'm going to see you soon. I'm going to be talking to you even sooner, but I'm going to see you soon because we have to hook this up for us.
Sounds wonderful, CL. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you.
Talk to you soon. God bless. That is Larry Alex Taunton, the author of The Faith of Christopher Hitchens. And let me tell you something. I'm going to put together an evening with him. And whether ye of little faith or you of great faith, we all want to come together and we want to reason together. And not only reason together, but perhaps, as Larry said, see that just because we wear the labels of Christian, or even if you wear the label of an atheist, there is ground for us to talk. And let's do that. That's what this show is about. It's about building bridges. And I don't know a better bridge builder than the one we just had on this show. And that's what we're going to be doing across the nation once our show is, in fact, national from right here in Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm CL Bryant Show, back in a couple minutes.
Broadcasting from the Bayou State and all around the Gulf Coast and streaming nationwide. This is the C.L. Bryant Show.
It is I, your native son, C.L. Bryant, here on this Tuesday evening in the jeweled cities of the Arklatex, Shreveport, and Bossier City, my hometown. Very proud to be from here and very proud to be talking to you. Soon we'll be talking all over the country and we'll be broadcasting from here. And I want to tell all you folks that you, my fellow citizens of this great city of ours, Shreveport, so many of you have made that possible. And I mentioned some of our sponsors earlier. I want to mention some now. Chevy Land, Breches Insurance, Bossier City Harley Davidson, Transmission Automotive Technologies, Grub Burger. Listen, you stop by Grub Burger and tell them I sent you. They'll do something real special for you. And Air Innovations, one of our newest advertisers. Want to thank all of them for being there for us and helping us along our way. We've been on the air now for 2 years, and as the C.L. Bryant Show for over a year. And so it is all happening, and I got to believe that the good Lord definitely has his hand upon what we're doing, and I certainly hope he will bless. And coming up in the next segment, we're going to be talking to yet another author, an author who has written this book. It is called Living the Miracle, How I Learned to See the Miracles Along My Journey through cancer. I know that may speak to a lot of you. There's very few of us who live in this country, in this world, even today, who have not experienced the icy finger of that diagnosis when the doctor tells you that one of your family members or you have this, as it used to be called when John Wayne was alive, the Big C. And so Darrell Tuberville will be with me coming up. But before then, I want to talk to you about a couple of these items that I don't want to escape us today. You know that, and my good friend Jim Talaferro was here in studio with me, and always good to have him in with me. I'm going to have him on radio here in the weeks to come. But you know how I feel, all of you, about law enforcement and police officers and how I support the SHIELD and all of that type of thing. And we're going to do that again, Jim, but we're going to do it inside next time. And but just the same, I also feel the same way about school teachers. In fact, I was reading my list of sponsors and so forth, and I was thinking about that. If you can read any word, I was reading the cover of Darrell's book. And if you can read any word of this, you have to thank a teacher, your mom, of course, your first teacher. In fact, I remember the first book that my mother got me. It was called Huckleberry Hound's Journey to the Moon. It was called Huckleberry Hound's Journey to the Moon. She started teaching me how to read out of that book. I was 4 years old. And when I got to kindergarten, I was pretty much reading. And all the little golden books that used to be around. Those of you who are my age and a little bit older, you remember those little golden books that used to be around. I used to have a library of those things. And I got to tell you something. The first teacher is mom, but teachers in the classroom now are, in fact, experiencing the type of difficulties that teachers during my day, and those of you who are my age, maybe a little younger, maybe and definitely those of you who are older than me, you understand what I'm about to tell you. So many of them live in fear. They live in absolute fear. One teacher, and tomorrow I'm going to have the clips for you. One teacher is noted as saying that she purposely has her desk situated at the doorway. Why? So that she can escape. Those were her words. So that she can escape out of the classroom in case they get rowdy. She was saying that at the school that she was teaching at there in Chicago, half of the class was with one part of a gang, the other half of the class with another part of the gang. It opened itself up to basically open warfare. In New York City, it is said that teachers have been body slammed. Now, we know that there are some teachers like the one in Beaumont, Texas. You may have seen the clip where she just couldn't take it anymore. She snapped, and she started hitting this kid, which is never good, right there, and she called him stupid and this and that. But, folks, maybe we're not understanding the type of stress that we're sending to school on a daily basis in America's classrooms today. And maybe we're not understanding the type of war zone we're expecting our teachers to work in, and maybe we're not understanding that they are not able to turn out a quality citizen, because education does begin in the home. It begins there, in the house. The teacher went on to say that one of the fears is, in these schools that don't regulate this, is that you have a younger group of parents now who have raised their children in a situation that's much different than the one that you and I may be familiar with. And these kids do have cell phones now. And you have kids who are calling their parents from the classroom when they don't like what the teacher said to them, so they call their parents on the teacher. And now you have this irate parent coming to school who is actually reinforcing the bad behavior of the child they sent there to the school. And so you have now coaches who are saying that they have gone to coach football games in some of these cities, and they have been shot at. I'm talking shot at during sports games. Going to have these clips for you tomorrow. And let me tell you something. We are witnessing the disintegration of a society. Lack of respect for parental authority, lack of respect for official authority when they leave the home, lack of respect for teachers, educators. It's leading to the absolute disintegration of our society. And then, folks, we look at the way, and I'm not pointing any fingers at anyone, but we look at the way people who would seek office talk to each other, and the childishness that go on with people who are seeking even to be president of the United States. We thought the things were bad back in 1968. There was an evolution going on in America, one that we have gotten past. It causes sickness. It really does. When the mind suffers, the body cries out. When we come back, along those lines, we're going to be talking to Darrell Tuberville, Living the Miracle. I think you'll really enjoy this. Don't go away. I'm CL. This is the CL Bryant Show, back in just a couple of minutes.
On Monday, and I got myself undressed. I ain't ready for the altar, but I do agree there's times when a woman sure can be a friend of mine. But I keep on thinking about you, sister.
CL, back with you on this Tuesday evening, broadcasting from the greatest success story the world has ever known, the greatest nation on the face of the earth. That would be America. Our homeland, our hometown, is Shreveport, Louisiana. The Jewel Cities is my hometown, and broadcasting from the Jewel Cities of the Arklatex, Shreveport and Bossier City. You know, Darrell Tuberville and I were talking. You know, it's amazing how you just need to talk to people just a little bit to find out just how close the world truly is. It's not. I told him that my family's from Cane River. Got talking about that, and come to find out his mom's from Provençal, and we got to talking about Clujeville and all this, you know, and so we know the territory. But now I want to talk to him in particular about this book that I'm holding here in my hand, Living the Miracle, how I learned to see the miracles along my journey through cancer. Darrell Tuberville, welcome to the CL Bryant Show. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you.
Darrell, what was the genesis? What was the inspiration? I know obviously the sickness was a part of that, but what to write this type of book, there has to be something that has to come out and make it real. Tell us about it.
It's a miracle from the get-go. It's a miracle from the get-go. A lady in my office that I work with, Dr. Patty Borneman, came to me and said, in my devotion time, I think the Lord has given me a direction to help you write your story. And when she said that, I said, tell me what that means, because I'm not a writer. She said, no, you're not a writer, but you're a talker. And so we're going to do some interviews. God's given me a direction. And she had a plan laid out on paper that she had gotten in her devotional time of how to write this book. And so because of Patty's inspiration and Patty's desire, we did interviews for hours and hours and hours, and she transposed that to paper.
Tell me about the diagnosis. Take us from there to here.
September 2012, diagnosed with stage 3 colorectal cancer. Regional, supposed to be treatable, going to do surgery, have a colostomy, do some neoadjuvant chemotherapy, and treatable, and going to live with a colostomy the rest of my life. God moved on 7 men in my life in a week to come to me, all independent of the other, saying, I think you should go to MD Anderson for a second opinion. I went to MD Anderson for a second opinion. They said, you do have colorectal cancer, but it's not stage 3, it's stage 4. You have metastatic disease in your lungs, and the best we can hope for you is 20 to 24 months.
Wow.
That was the first week of December 2012.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
You know, everyone knows that Jane and I have walked through this gate together. And you know what, Darrell? I don't know if we can describe to anyone that hasn't done it the icy finger of dread that actually creeps down your back when you're told this. Your faith, though.
Yes.
Where did it kick in?
Kicked in the day that the doctor walked in at MD Anderson and told me we had 24 months. And Susan and I didn't know what to do. My wife Susan and I have been together since we were 12 years old. And so we obviously had just received the death sentence, stage 4. Inoperable. We were not going to do the colostomy because it was stage 4. So we're not going to do that. We're going to do the treatment, and we're going to help you ease out of here with as comfortable as you can. That was what we were told.
Yeah.
So we got home, and we began to pray, and we began to seek God, and we began to try to make a determination. And we sat on the front porch of our house, because we're good Southerners, and we sat on the front porch and said, how do we want to spend these 20 to 24 months that we have left? And I looked at it at that particular point in time, and I said, I'm not going to spend them preparing to die. I'm going to spend them living them to the best of my ability. And at that particular point in time, I said, Lord, it's for you, and it's about you. It's not about me. And so we're going to live it for God's glory, whatever we've got left. And at that particular point in time, that was the determining point that, you know what, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to live life to the best of my ability, experience life. And that was the turning point.
You look fantastic.
Thank you. You're kind.
And Michelle, I told you, there's something in this building that makes me cough. I don't know what it is. But 320-5335, 320-5335 is, so get your ears on.
Yeah, they're here.
320-5335, 320-5335 is the number you want to call if you want to speak to this great man of faith, Darrell Tuberville. And I know that there are so many of you out there that have walked through this valley. And you are a counselor.
I am.
What is your field of expertise as far as that's concerned?
I started out in trauma and trauma recovery, working with firefighters and police officers, and I've been doing that as what really started it off. And it opened up into active dying. So I actually started years ago being a counselor for people who were diagnosed with stage 4 cancers like mine, and we started doing counseling with active dying, how to help them and their families live their last months or years together, and how to make it good, and how to keep focused on that. So that's a lot of what I do, and I do. Kind of as Michelle said earlier, I do the nitty-gritty type of counseling.
And it is.
The people who are not in the happy parts of life a lot of times. And so people who've experienced trauma, bad car wrecks, and physical struggles and those types of things.
You know, a lot of times, Darrell, when we talk about grief, and I was a pastor for over 30 years, and did a lot of pastoral counseling. But a lot of people associate grief with dying itself, with losing someone or something of that nature. But what you have just described are situations where people live and grieve over their situation in life. And a lot of people don't really understand that process of grieving. It happens even when you haven't lost someone, when you're still full of life.
Absolutely.
But you have a situation that seems deadly to you.
Yes.
As far as the next day is concerned.
Absolutely.
Those are the type of people that there's a multitude of them that we don't see.
There's tons of them, and sometimes that's as simple, and I don't mean to make light of any given situation.
Right.
But sometimes we try to compare and say, how does cancer compare to losing a limb?
Right.
Okay, a person who loses the leg from the knee down, okay, they're traumatized. Right. I mean, it changes their life, and now they don't walk as good anymore. They're having a prosthetic. They're having all these kinds of adjustments to make. Person who's diagnosed with cancer has the same types of adjustments.
Exactly.
And how am I going to live, and how am I going to feel when taking this treatment, and what does it mean to throw up 3 or 4 times a day? What does it mean to not be able to rest? What does it mean to have to wear an infusion pump for 72 hours?
Right.
All of those kinds of questions. And those traumas affect us. What does it mean when a child disappears and you don't see them anymore, and they're 17, 18 years old, and they're gone?
And that happens.
And it happens every day.
It absolutely does.
And so those are all traumatic type events. So that we're not prepared. We're not even prepared to be married, much less experience the traumas that go along with family issues.
We're going to be back with Darrell Tuberville in just a few minutes. The number to call, 320-5335. We'll take your calls on the other side of the break. So many of us live in quiet desperation. We'll be back to talk about it in just a minute.
Felt like a million, felt like number one. The height of summer, I'd never felt that strong, like a rock. I was 18, didn't have a care, working for peanuts, not a dime to spare.
Broadcasting from the Bayou State and all around the Gulf Coast and streaming nationwide. This is the C.L. Bryant Show.
CL back with you on this Tuesday evening. And folks, I tell you, the discussion has been lively here in studio with Darrell Tuberville. Darrell Tuberville, the author of Living the Miracle. Darrell, before we get to the phones, 3205-335, 3205-335. One of the miracles that you describe, one of the miracles that you talk about is the miracle of family.
Yes, sir.
Explain that.
I think family is the foundational unit of our society that brings us together and holds us together in times of adversity. This book is all about dealing with adversity. My adversity happens to be stage 4 colorectal cancer. However, adversity is adversity. And family, when we come together and figure out a plan to deal with adversity, allows the individual to manage that adversity far more succinctly than ever would happen if that individual's out there on the limb by themselves. So when cancer came into our lives, my family got together, and Susan and I have 2 boys, and we've been married 39 years. And so those 2 boys, my wife, my sisters, my sisters-in-law, my dad, the people that are my family, plus my family that works at my office, plus my family that is together at my church.
Miracle.
Yes, sir. Miracle after miracle began to take place. I mean, the family begins to expand in concentric circles, but it starts with the family unit.
Wow.
And the family unit, right there close together, allows us to reach out to the next line, the next ring of the tree, if you can imagine, the next concentric circle, to reach out. So what happens as a result of that is one of my sons talks to a member of the second concentric circle, our church family, and they say, how is Dad doing? And he said, well, Dad's doing pretty good. And they say, well, what can I do? And, well, let's think about helping him mow the yard, or let's think about helping him move rose bushes, or, things that are right around the house, things that need to be done. And next thing you know, that miracle of family has expanded, and those people are mowing my yard.
Yeah.
They're showing up, and then inside of me there's a miracle of learning to receive that was very difficult.
Wow. There is a certain rhythm,
yes,
to life, even in families. These days we see the rhythm of the family somewhat disrupted. Grandparents raising the grandchildren,
right,
don't know where the parent of the child is.
Right.
I speak to that grandparent, pardon me, who may be feeling as though life is pressing them down.
Absolutely.
A little bit too much, and they don't necessarily see the miracle.
Absolutely. And that's a precarious position, Pastor, as you look at it, because a grandparent, once they have raised their family, then they want to become a grandparent, and the prefix of that word, grand, is something we look forward to, because you become grand because there are things you can do with grandchildren you can't do with your own children. Exactly. There are liberties and freedoms and fun and things. You want to be the fun person. You want to be that. And so when the family unit is disrupted, or you have a child that ceases to grow and to develop, and they're stuck as an adolescent, and now they're 25, 30, 35 years old, and they've born their own children and brought them into the home,
right,
that parent is no more grand.
Right.
Now they're having to assume a role as a surrogate parent that they never, ever wanted.
And that rhythm is off.
It's completely disrupted. The rhythm is completely disrupted. The flow of getting older, now we don't become grand, now we're becoming the disciplinarian. Now we're trying to do that. And then the parent wants to battle with the grandparent on how we're going to do it. And the grandparent says, no, this is my home, we do it my way. And the parent says, well, I'll pull my child out. And they know they don't have any place to go.
Exactly.
And so the rhythm is completely fragmented.
Yeah.
To where it's instead of it going in one direction, now it's going, if you put your hands up together, in 10 directions.
Incredible.
And so who can manage those 10 directions? Nobody.
No one can
So we have to
manage
come
those
together.
10 directions. Folks, we're going to get to your calls. We are going to get to your calls. I'm going to have him on till the top of the hour. And now, let me ask you this. Now, you're a member of Shreveport Community, right?
I am.
I'm a member of Word of God. And,
Yes.
And my pastor, James A. McManus, and your pastor, great. Denny's a great guy.
Yes, thank you.
And give a shout out to both of them.
Yes.
Pastor Duran and Pastor McManus.
Yes.
Give a shout out to both of you. My
Amen.
pastor was talking about this rhythm on Sunday, and I thought about that in every aspect of life. Sickness does not have to pull you down, but some people don't see the faith in that. They don't see the faith avenue in that. Of course, you and I know, and my mantra will always be that Jesus is the answer.
Right. Amen.
But there are so many now who feel as though there are Christians, and we might as well deal with this, who are judgmental and vindictive. How do you deal with that person who feels that way?
Well, the bottom question is answering the question to the man in the mirror of what kind of man am I going to be? And I'm going to be this type of man regardless of what my circumstance brings me, or regardless of what my environment brings me. I'm going to be this man of God, and I'm going to be the righteousness of God, and I'm going to stay with that regardless. That's the tough part. That's the part that says the world is going to bring me a whole lot of different things, and we know the Bible says broad's the way that leads to destruction, and most are going to go that way.
Hold that thought. We're going to be back with your phone calls in just a couple of minutes.
Seems like yesterday, but it was long ago. Jane, it was lovely, she was the queen of my night. There in the darkness with the radio playing low and the secrets that we shared, the mountains that we moved, caught like a wildfire out of control, till there was nothing left to burn and nothing left to prove. And I remember
CL with Darrell Tuberville, author of the book, you got to get it, Living the Miracle. Darrell, how do we get a hold of this?
We can get it at our office at 318-686-0012. You can get it on Amazon, or you can get it at thebookofmiraclesbook.com.
Thebookofmiraclesbook.com. Thebookofmiraclesbook.com.
Yes, sir.
Go there, get this book. Give that telephone number again.
It is 318-686-0012.
0012. 318-686-0012. Give it a call, pick it up, it'll help you. Now, there are certain... We have a call?
We've got a couple things. We've got the first caller to enter to win the book.
Wonderful.
That's right. So Dr. Tuberville was so willing, and he brought a book for us to give away. So call in now until 7:06, and at the end of the show, we'll give the book away. And we do have a caller, and his name is David.
David, thank you for listening. Thank you for calling the C.L. Bryant Show. What's on your mind, friend?
Well, sir, mainly I called because I wanted to thank you all for what you're doing here. The very fact that you're on a mainstream radio station and you're proclaiming your faith in Christ, I think, is incredible.
Bless you for that.
Mm-hmm. We're living in a day and time where I believe people need to unapologetically be able to describe, who and what they believe in.
Absolutely, David. And the one thing that I know, whatever else I am in life, I am first and foremost a preacher of the gospel. That's what I am. That's what I had been for 30 years, and that's the largest and most significant part of my life. And I know that Darrell, even though I'm not speaking for him, I know that I am speaking for him when I say the same thing about it. Darrell, what do you what do you say about this call, professing your faith in these points in time over the airways, even though it's a terrestrial, a secular? This is a secular show,
right,
or secular station. But what do you say about those who kind of shy away from that? You know a lot of them. I know a lot of them. They won't talk about it.
Right. Thank you, David, for calling. And again, the gospel is everything we do. It's not what we do on Sunday. It's who we are. It's who we become. And so I want to proclaim the gospel, and I would love to stand side by side with anybody who proclaims anything else, just to say, you know what, here's Jesus, here's the things that we believe in. Let's put them side by side. Let's see which causes the most change in our community, the blessings. I don't know anybody who's come to know Christ who hasn't changed their behavior.
And David, it has been that way. And I like what you said about being a Christian. You are one. You don't have to act like one.
No, you are
because one. If you act like one, David, then you turn into an actor. Whether and folks, all of you know the kind of I grew up in the 70s. I listened to this, and of course I listen to all kinds of music. I used to be a musician, but I listen to all kinds of music. But I'm always, as Darrell just said, I am always a Christian.
Always.
Like my dad said, hey, you're a Bryant.
Yeah.
He didn't say act like a Bryant. He said you are one. And so that means wherever you go, you don't have to wear that on. You don't have to wear it stamped in your forehead. That's who you are. And so because of that, you act accordingly.
Right.
So you don't bring shame
right.
to your family.
Well, the amazing thing about it is if God is the center, and if the Word of God is in our heart, that we long to know it and to apply it to our lives, then it shapes our thinking. Once it shapes our thinking directs our behavior. Our behavior then is going to tell us how we feel. And those who observe those spiritual values coming through in positive thinking and solution-based thinking, and who see behavior that is there to improve society as well as the individual, they feel good about that and they gravitate to that.
Let's talk about America for a minute, because that is one of my, in fact, the Lord has given me a pulpit that is incredible, from coast to coast, border to border, and of course throughout other parts of the world. And he did that. I came into this particular walk pastoring a church. I never thought that he would give me a secular audience. I always thought that my audience would always be those within the four walls of the church or wherever I would choose to go and witness on the street to. Your story is a lot the same. When we talk about cancer,
right,
we're talking about something that this is not a Christian thing.
No.
It's not an atheist thing. This is something that affects everybody, but you are showing and telling people about how you made it through it.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the physiology. Are there different types of transitions in the body
Absolutely.
that are there to aid and help the body to heal? You know about those type things. Tell us about that.
Well, God has put our body together, and I'm certainly not a medical doctor, but they've
Right.
put our body together so that it has this incredible immune system, this incredible ability to fight back. Okay? One of the things I said was, I'm going to put my faith and my medical doctor together so that we're going to work on this thing together. And so I told the doctor, I'm going to be a great patient. I'm going to do whatever you tell me to do. And I have. I've done everything they've told me to do. But while doing that, from that day we sat on the porch, Susan and I sat on that porch that I told you about earlier. I said, God, I know that you are the master physician. I know that you are the healer. So my prayer every day, okay, now my wife's going to be a little bit embarrassed when I tell this, but you hang on, Susan. Every day I said, God, I know you can back this tumor out. There's stories in that book that you can back this tumor out. And I prayed that prayer every day for over a year. Now, faith without works is what?
Dead.
Ain't going to happen, right? It's dead. So that means that every day when I prayed that prayer, I had to go after I had left the throne and look for a tumor, didn't I?
Wow.
If I believed it.
Wow.
And one day, I had it in my hand.
Wow. That is amazing.
Had it in my hand.
That is amazing.
The Lord backed it out. You think, well, that's a miracle.
Sure
That's
is.
a miracle. And so I talked with the doctor about it. We confirmed it. He went in and looked and said, it's not there. It's not there. And that's exactly what you had in your hand. That's a miracle.
Living the
believe in
miracle, living the miracle, how I learned to see the miracles along my journey through cancer.
Yeah.
Folks, America is in a cancerous situation right now.
Yeah.
And the National Day of Prayer is coming up. You know that this show is a bridge to all types of conversation. We're going to complete this one when we return. I'm C.L. Bryant with Darrell Tuberville, the author of Living the Miracle. Back in just a couple of minutes.
Open your eyes, look at the day. You'll see things in a different way. Don't stop thinking about tomorrow. Don't stop, it'll soon be here. It'll be better than before. Yesterday's gone, yesterday's gone.
CL back with you on this Tuesday with someone who has experienced the miracle, living it. His name is Darrell Tuberville. Darrell, what is your Facebook page?
Our Facebook page is Living the Miracle.
Living the Miracle.
Living the Miracle.
Go there and they can find the telephone number and
Yes,
all
sir.
of that.
They can find the phone
there
number.
on the Facebook page.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, folks, you be sure to go there. I'm going to give the number out again. It's 318-686-0012 if you want this book. I'm telling you, it will be an encouragement to everyone who has ever been through any struggle. I'm going to tell you something. If you've not been through one, you're going to have one in your life. You may be going through one now, or you've just come out of one. And so this book is for each and every phase of life, because life does happen to each and every one of us, the trials and the struggles of life. I want to thank two of our really good sponsors, really new sponsors, Good Life Health Food and Deli, and Rimmer Electric, along with Air Innovations. Air Innovations. I want to thank Reggie Bear, Adam Rimmer, for being sponsors of the show. Now, you have a hobby. What is that?
One of them is that I'm a licensed Louisiana auctioneer. I have a friend of mine, Ernest Mitchell, and I, and we do primarily charity auctions and raise money to help other people in other events. And we just last Friday night helped First Baptist Church School raise almost $16,000 in about an hour.
You have an
Selling a
awesome
few
voice,
items.
I got to tell you.
Thank you. You're
It
kind.
is just absolutely awesome.
Thank you.
I can't wait to hear you auction something.
Oh my goodness! I'm really not that good, but I have a whole lot more fun.
Oh yeah,
I'm good. I'm good. But it's a lot of fun. So auctioning and helping people raise money is just a
that was
a
First
blast.
Baptist Shreveport.
That was First Baptist Shreveport. Yes, sir.
Great place out there. Okay, who do we have? Michelle. Dave's on the line. And Dave, want to thank you for listening. Thank you for calling. What's on your mind, friend?
I just have a couple questions. First, I want to thank y'all for what y'all doing this evening. I'm really enjoying it. I almost hate to call in and disturb y'all. I mean, I'm enjoying it so much. I would just like to know where some good, I don't know if this would be the proper place, but I'm new to the town, and there's, it's hard to select through so many churches. I walked away from the church a long time ago because I was being preached down to, and I like to be lifted up when I go to a church, not brought down. And it's hard to find good churches like that for me.
Well, I can tell you two right now. Shreveport Community is one. Word of God Ministries is another.
That's right.
Visit them both. And hey, listen, we'd love to have you out at Word of God, and I'm sure Pastor Denny would love to have you. Pastor McMinnis would like to have you at Word of God.
Yeah.
Pastor Denny would love to have you at Shreveport Community.
That's right.
Those are two.
That's right. You can either sit by CL at Word of God, or you can sit by me, Dave, at Shreveport Community. I'd love to have you.
Absolutely. And listen, Dave.
Walked away from Christianity. I just walked away from the church,
Yeah.
And I mean, I've had my problems from the Army and hurt and stuff. And I mean, it's just Jesus Christ that got me through it.
Right.
Now, have you had counseling yourself?
It was hard to go through it, and no, I didn't get it.
Dave, Michelle, be sure to get Dave's number. We're giving away Living the Miracle. And this just does not refer to the cancer in the body. There's a cancer within society that, even with Darrell relating his struggle and his victory over cancer in his body, the same type of thing can happen to you socially, educationally, in the community. America is in a cancerous situation, would you say, Darrell?
I would. It's a cancerous situation, and it starts on the inside, eating at the heart, and it creates division.
Spiritually, you can be eating up cancer spiritually. I walked away from the church. I didn't walk away from Christianity, but I just, like I said, I didn't like being preached down to. I was in a very I basically had 3 herniated discs. I could not walk, and I did not have one preacher of my church or any members come see me.
And I don't want you to become bitter over that. You just need to find a good family to become a part of, and so forth. Michelle's going to get your number. Don't hang up. Michelle's going to get your number, and we're going to see if, in fact, we can get you a copy of this book, Living the miracle. And while Michelle's doing that, and pardon me, folks, while Michelle is doing that, folks, you pastors out there, let me tell you this. You heard what this young man said. Stop preaching down to those folks. Preach them up. Preach it up. Preach it up.
Right.
Give something uplifting. Give them something to live for and to live by. The miracle of prayer. You got about 3 minutes.
Okay.
Got about 2 minutes.
Miracle of prayer. A friend of mine, Ernest Mitchell, in his prayer time studying, the children of Israel walking around the walls of Jericho, and they prayed and they came down. And the Lord spoke to him, if you'll circle Darrell and Susan's house, the walls of cancer will come down. So they went to work, gathered about 130 people, and they were primarily of fire and police that I've been ministering to for the last 28 years, EMS people. They circled my house,
My God, that's
130
good.
of them, shoulder to shoulder, and they began to pray one by one.
Brother, that'll
and
preach.
For 2.5 hours they prayed, and for 2.5 hours I cried and watched the presence of God. We got around to the back, and here's an amazing story. There was no preaching. There was no prayer, and unlike most churches, there was no offering, okay? It was just people who gathered to pray.
That's awesome.
On the back patio was a man on his face before God, on his knees, crying out, God, forgive me, God, forgive me. The power began at that moment to let him know that God was a restorative God. God is a restorative God that lifts us up out of the ditch or whatever our adversary is at that moment. That helps us to battle against that adversary. That's the God that we serve. We serve a God of do's, not a God of don'ts.
I love it.
We serve a God of blessings, not a God of beatings. We serve a God of survival. We serve a God of the God that reaches out and lifts us up so that we can be men and women strong, lock our arms, and be locked together in heart by faith. And then we can move mountains. We can speak to that mountain and say, be removed and cast into the sea.
Tell Pastor Denny I said, hey.
Hey, man, I'll do it.
Be sure to do it. You know what? I got to go get Denny on the show.
Yeah, you'd love
Got to
it.
get Denny on the show.
You'd love it.
Listen, folks.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Living the Miracle. Darrell Tuberville. Get that book. I'm CL. We're going to be back in just about 4 minutes. Don't go anywhere. Be right back.
Why don't you come to your senses? You've been out riding fences for so long now. Oh, you're a hard one, but I know that you got your reasons. These things that
Broadcasting from the Bayou State and all around the Gulf Coast and streaming nationwide. This is the C.L. Bryant Show.
It is I, your native son, back with you on this Tuesday evening. I got to tell you something. Every once in a while, you just got to take some time out for the inspirational. And all the time, whenever you hear me talking about anything, of course, you know that I'm speaking from the perspective of my faith, the Christian faith. As a gospel preacher, I'm always speaking from that perspective. I can be talking about the penny tax. I'm still talking about it from a perspective that comes from that. But you know what? I got so many calls. And folks, let me tell you something. There are people out there who are hurting. I use the term a lot. They live in quiet desperation. Yes, a lot of times we feel as though our problems are the problems of America being what it is. And maybe that is why I'm having such a difficult time. Yeah. But our founding fathers gave us a blueprint for the health of the country into the future. And they did it by telling us that we had an endowment given to us by our Creator. And among them were our life, liberty, pardon me. And folks, when I tell you that there is something in this room that makes me cough, got to have the cleaning crew in here to dust it up or whatever, I don't know. But I come into this room and I really, really get choked up. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to track it down. I'm going to get rid of it, whatever it is. And when I also tell you this, the pursuit of our life, our liberty, and our happiness is very, very much of part of who we are as American. But that endowment is much more important than it all. We have an endowment, something that is set aside for us as free people and free beings. Just want to talk a little bit about that today. I want to thank, again, Air Innovations, Reggie Hebert, Rimmer Electric, Adam Rimmer, they bring the light. Adam Rimmer and Rimmer Electric, they bring the light. And get on over there to see my friends at Good Life Food and Deli. And if you go by Grub Burger, you tell them that I sent you, they're going to give you a free hand-spun, handmade malt shake, whatever you want. And they are good. They are good. Grub Burger. My friends at Chevyland. Let me tell you, I test drove a Malibu, the 16 Malibu. Folks, it's sweet. It is sweet. Parts itself. Now, in the I grew up in the summertime. I'd go down to my grandparents' house, and of course, I've driven tractors, plowed behind mules, all that type of stuff. First thing I ever drove was a tractor, and let me tell you this. I'm not used to things parking themselves. I'd buy a Mercedes for all that. And I guess Mercedes may have something that does that, but this Malibu does it. And it's amazing. I tested it out today. And it actually parks itself. Yeah, call me a hick from the sticks for being so amazed by that, but I was amazed by it. That new 2016 Chevy Malibu. You can get them out at Chevyland. See my buddy and my friend Bubba Winningham when you're out there, and say hey to Blake and Lavelle Banks when you're out there at Chevyland. Well, Michelle, put your ears on. I'm going to talk to you for a minute about this, because this is really beginning to get my goat, Hillary Clinton. I know she's
my good friend.
I know she's one of your favorite topics to hate. And so,
I don't hate her, CL. I hate
that's
no
right.
one.
That's
I
right,
hate no one.
We just had Darrell in here.
That's
and of
right.
course, before Darrell, we had Larry.
Yeah, so we don't hate our enemies. We
Absolutely.
love them.
Okay, but and that's true. We do. We love those who despitefully use us.
You mean the Clintons? Oh, I'm sorry.
And they would.
They
in my,
do.
in my opinion,
Honey, they do.
She is positioning herself to despitefully use every Republican that she can
Every American
that she can possibly despitefully use. But this is the thing that I want to talk to you about. Is it different for Hillary being I know Sarah Palin brought something else to the game. I'm not talking about her. She was not running for president of the United States. Is Hillary judged, because this is her what her people are saying, that she is being held, and maybe we have to talk about this on the other side of the break, that some people are holding her to a different standard because she is a woman. And I want to ask you when we come back, is it identifiably different, in your opinion, for a woman like Hillary, who over 25 years been taking the slings and arrows and everything that we could throw at her, including me? Is it different? Is there a higher standard? I'm CL. Don't go anywhere. Be right back. CL back, the home stretch of the CL Bryant Show this evening. And I have a question for Michelle here, the female voice of the show when we have these go-to kind of questions that I really can't answer. But I like I said, raised 4 girls, including my granddaughter, Brittany. But 3 girls of my own and of our own, Jane and I, and then Brittany, my granddaughter. But this is the thing, Michelle. This is what I want to ask you. Is Hillary Clinton, is she being held to a standard that most men are not?
Well, you were saying that it's her people that are putting that. I call it propaganda. You know, when all else fails in marketing a candidate, if people don't like you in New York, then you start saying, well, I'm a woman, and they're just being mean to me. And, you know, the poll numbers say that she's dangerously close to Sanders. She's got 55 and he's got 41. But one of the interesting things is that when asked, the Democrats were asked, now, if your candidate, 55 said it was Clinton, 41 Sanders, if your candidate isn't the candidate, will you support the other Democrat? And Sanders supporters, 30% said, no, I will not support Clinton.
Well,
So, CL, you're going to start to see every trick in the book. I'm a grandma. I identify with this. I'm confused about that. I haven't been in the White House, because this woman wants to win no matter what it takes. So, no, I don't think that it's that she can say that she's being held to a different standard, because look at Carly Fiorina. I mean, Carly Fiorina, if anybody should be mad, the way she was treated by all those men and overlooked. But we don't use the woman card in the Republican Party. Not the way that Hillary is trying to use it.
and I mean, she's really using it. Let me ask you this then, because inside information is telling me this. When Hillary and I talked about the other day how she's going to get the nomination, she'll never be indicted. And the reason for that is because she knows where too many political skeletons are buried, and nobody can tolerate for her to start telling the Hillary Clinton story about what she knows. So,
You said that for about a year now.
indictment is off the table. Okay. I'll be very surprised if it happens.
Well, I'll see. We've got 2 more months. We've got a couple months. And you know what I'm hoping? Because I think the people in America are sick and tired of all this. I hope it comes out. I'm sorry. I hope the hidden things will be revealed. And that's all those political dead bodies.
Well, some of them still have some of them still have flesh on them.
Flesh and bones on them in a heartbeat.
Those skeletons still have absolutely on them. And now, this is what I think they're going to play too. Over a 25-year period of time, from Whitewater fiasco in Arkansas all the way to the email fiasco now, this is how they're going to present her. It's going to be reverse psychology is how they're going to use this. This woman has withstood
exactly.
all of that, and she's still standing. And so that, in too many instances, is going to make her a symbol of triumph.
Well, see, if I were doing the marketing on the other side, if they know this, look at Al Capone. People tried to take him down, and he could have used the same message. Oh, they tried to take me down, but I'm still standing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They didn't get me.
Exactly.
The dirty rats.
And so finally got taken down. I think that if you know that, then the people that are marketing this thing on the Republican side need to be saying, they need to point out the email scandal. They need to interview the families of the Benghazis, the parents of those Benghazi men that lost their lives. Just a little 30-second commercial. It's not exploitation. It's telling the truth. The problem is the truth is just all lumped into a 25-year period.
25
We need to
years.
take it out and analyze it
25
and do it in a
years.
way that it appeals to it. Look, with these people voting for Bernie Sanders, I'm telling you, this is an anti-Hillary. When Susan Sarandon doesn't want to be on the Hillary train,
Exactly. And Susan
And
Sarandon,
she is.
What kind of liberal is she?
and
She's the queen of. She's other than Hillary.
well,
She's one
I
of the queens.
don't dislike Susan Sarandon. Unlike
fantastic
yourself.
actress.
Susan, if you're listening,
Actor.
I respect you. We want you on the show. But yeah, for her to come out publicly and
Let me
say
ask
that.
you this: when did women stop being actresses and they became actors?
They used to be actors in the 1800s with Shakespeare and all of that. Actresses is what we did to feminize it.
Aha.
Yeah, yeah.
In
actress.
America.
Yeah. It's modern. It's modern. It's modern to say actress. It was always an actor.
That came along with Ms. and all that.
I don't think it came along with Ms. It was something in the 30s when we started to really have a bunch of actresses making movies, silent movies. We can do this. So, for all those last night that missed Derek Welburn, the associate
No, he is the vice chair.
vice chair of the GOP
yeah.
in Colorado.
Yeah.
He's going to come on again tomorrow night. Apparently, there was some breaking news. And anytime there's weather, we have no control over it, and we don't even hear it in the studio.
No.
It just breaks through on the signal because it's urgent. And so those people needed to hear that.
And let me tell you, last night was urgent because on my way home it was pouring. And let me tell you.
And that's why I was not here last night, because you are a benevolent master.
Oh my goodness, and you better believe it. But anyway, folks, it's been fun being with you today. We're going to be back to close it out in just a couple of minutes. I'm CO.
want a revolution. Well, you know.
That is the great socialist himself, great liberal. Fantastic musical mind, though. John Lennon saying, talking revolution, all the sleep-ins and everything that I remember. Lennon and a woman by the name of Yoko Ono. She's still alive, still around. America, we are facing. Revolution is in the air in this country. Although Paul Ryan says he doesn't want any part of being president of the United States. I'll believe it once the convention is over, because Paul Ryan did say the same thing about not wanting to be Speaker of the House, but his country called him, and so he answered the call. We'll see what happens. I think he is right. I think Paul is right by saying that whoever has their hat in the ring, whoever these people are that have their hat in the ring, one of them should be president of the United States. I think that is absolutely the most sensible thing to do. Tomorrow, folks, going to have Derek Wilburn back on, because there is not a vast left wing or even right wing or Republican conspiracy going on to keep one candidate from becoming president of the United States. It's not. I think if Trump goes in and gets the delegates, I think Trump is going to be the nominee, and I think that he'll have a very good chance of winning the presidency once everybody coalesces behind him. Doesn't look like it now in the polls, but it can happen. If my guy, Ted Cruz, goes in with the delegates, however he wins them, I believe he will be the president of the United States. We'll take it up again tomorrow. But for now, I want to thank God for bringing us to the close of yet another day. And I want to thank him for our men and women in uniform who defend our rights to speak our mind. I'm C.L. Bryant, and until I'm able to talk to you again, may God bless and keep you all.
Families left behind, we'll stand by your side, and the bond will never be torn. For those who wear the uniform, I say a prayer and make a wish. You come home to loved ones that you've missed, and honor you the way that you deserve, and show you love far beyond what can be said in words. And I want to thank you from my heart to those who wear the uniform, for all you sacrificed to keep freedom alive. And to the families left behind, we'll stand by your side, and the bond will never be torn. For those who wear the uniform,